3.
You're now watching Two Old Farts Making Noises.
Joe, do you want to know why some businesses succeed and some businesses fail? Why some businesses grow and some businesses don't? That's what this show is all about. Business, business, business.
All right, folks.
All right, hold on. There we go. Look at that. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, you got it. In lieu, so welcome back to the Lost Dollar Business Club. I'm your host, Michael Maturo. We've got Stephen Oldfart, and we've got a new transplant, new person taking over for the moment for our friend
David
there. So John is going to join us today.
Yes, John has many years of business experience. He built a whole company in his basement out of Legos. So it's very exciting. He has a whole little town there full of Legos. It's very cool.
Right.
So,
always talking me up, Steve.
Because I love you like the sister I never had.
Yeah,
so that's why.
you.
Yeah. There you go. Well, John and I have known each other forever. So John's very smart. So we figured since David's on holiday. And now we're finding out that I know how to do stuff. So David saw one of the shows we did yesterday, and he said, "Oh, you won't need me anymore." And I'm like, "David, who?" So, but David is back May 1st, and a whole bunch of new shows are coming May 1st as well. So the month of May is going to be very exciting.
Busy month of May. All right.
The month of May, yeah. And of course, our Lost Dollar Business Club show, which is aired every Saturday globally at 6 a.m. Eastern time. So
6 a.m.
wants to watch it.
That's
Yeah,
6 a.m.
Yeah, podcast
bright and
everywhere.
early.
Bright and early. For all the business people.
That's right. That's right.
There you go. So we have 3 things we're going to discuss today. I understand.
Right.
We're going to discuss Elon Musk and AI. That's good. Conspiracy. 3D printing and manufacturing, and the digital divide narrowing in rural America, or as we like to call it, Hoboken, New Jersey.
Yeah.
So,
no, don't worry. We had 5G here before you had it, so
probably. Now I think this is where I'm supposed to run the commercial, right? And then we get into the topic.
Yeah.
Okay. Here, let's see if I can not screw this up. All right, people. Here's your 20-second commercial.
Get the freedom and the flexibility of remote work in the lucrative tech industry. Bend your life around the world. Bendicoot is the premier course and community for thriving in a remote tech career. Join the revolution today. Bendicoot.com, official partner of the Lost Dollar Business Club.
Ooh, and now we're back.
all right.
We're back. It's working out great.
So far, so good. Don't say that. We still have like the rest of the show to do, and I got to push a bunch of buttons, so we're screwed. All right. So here's what I want to start with, if I may.
Yeah.
Elon Musk. First of all, his rocket ship blew up yesterday. Don't care. 2 or 3 weeks ago, we spoke that Elon Musk was one of these guys who sent out a letter. 1,300 people signed it. Says, "Oh, we have to stop AI." In fact, yesterday, The Economist came out, and it literally is just 35 pages of how AI is going to destroy the world, how it might help us, all this other stuff, right? But Elon Musk, I think that the Monday after we did that Friday show, announces that he now is going to do artificial intelligence better than everybody else. That's going to be able to do this. So that's what I said on the show. He's just full of crap, and all he really was going to do is just build up his own AI.
Well, so that's an interesting point. I mean, he was one of the founders of OpenAI, and
I was going to say that
of OpenAI was to make AI open source and accessible to everyone.
Right.
And they didn't do that. They actually started closing it. They worked with Microsoft. Now it's for profit and versus nonprofit. So he pointed out a lot of that, how it moved away from its original foundations. And I did see an interview with him recently on Tucker Carlson, of all people. I was surprised by that, but there he was. He did an hour interview with him. And one of the things that Elon Musk said was that, well, maybe he could create an AI that would be so interested and curious about the universe that it wouldn't destroy humanity because it would be interested in humanity as a subject of study. So,
it's going to AI is going to kill us all. It's just a matter of time. I'm looking forward to it. I'm in Vegas next week placing money on it, just so we're clear, because I figure I got to do that. But I don't listen, Elon Musk has his car company. I don't get me started on that crap. So he's got this. He's got his rockets that blow up. So I'm very excited for him that he's got two big firecrackers. But when he's like, "Don't we should do this?" All these articles are all talking about what if AI goes crazy? What if AI does it? Listen, the
There's a
genie's
risk.
out of the bottle.
Yeah.
And Microsoft, I'm sorry, or Google announced it was
Google.
yesterday or this morning in the FT that they're going to now combine their AI, what A with Alphabet, with B,
DeepMind, right?
Brad, and others. So they're all doing. It's now just this is the new arms race. Is going to be AI,
It's
right?
been a news race.
Well, but no,
Yeah.
it's going to make the arms race of like the '60s with that arms race. This is that's kindergarten compared to this because
Yeah.
everybody wants that sentient being. They want that AI that can do whatever, and I think that's what they're all trying to do. They just don't want to say anything because they're afraid, which is what's going on now. Like the public will be terrified. It's kind of like the government and UFOs, right? They know they're there. They have whatever, but they don't want to tell the public because the public, I don't think the public at this point would be like, yeah, great. We all know UFOs exist. Who cares? They're from another dimension, planet, big deal. But AI, that terrifies people. It's scientists. Even these articles I'm reading in the Economist, they're all like, well, if AI goes awry, how do you stop it? And you don't. You're letting the genie out of the bottle unless you're literally just going to put it in a computer that has no internet connection and it just sits there and all it is that box.
Too late. The open APIs
Right.
for OpenAI are already out.
Yeah.
I rest my point. So I think it's a conspiracy. Musk and all these guys, they're just literally just another way to try to take over the world. And unfortunately for them, I think the AI is the one who's going to take over the world and we'll be their bitches. That's all I can say.
The AI could do it. That's the thing. The AI could do it. If you imagine an AI that replicates on its own, that creates the manufacturing, which we'll talk about later on,
Right.
3D printing, automated, all digital manufacturing, and imagine an AI controlling that, it could create as many copies of itself as it wanted, and it doesn't have a 9-month gestation period.
I know, it's great. The best thing is, as I'm thinking, the Japanese are going to make some really cool sex toys now. So I'm very excited about that.
Oh God.
So,
no,
but
but
seriously,
at the end of the day, don't we control AI? You know, I guess you can hook it up to some manufacturing. You can hook it up to all sorts of things, but in the end, you control the button that gives it life.
Yeah, but at some point, though,
you can shut down the power to it. You could shut down an entire city if it gets out of control and just take down the power, because that's the one thing that it does need. It does need electricity.
Right. So
until it starts creating solar panels on every robot.
Yeah.
Then,
but, you know, you have to. So you have to integrate it into
to that point. Wait, to that point, before you go, not true though. It needs electricity, but if I'm all over as AI, right? If I'm everywhere, like in the movie Lucy, I don't know if you ever saw it with Scarlett Johansson, where she becomes everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Because she's AI, because she took a drug, so to speak. Once you're everywhere, so if I unplug my laptop right now and you're on my laptop, it doesn't matter because you're on Michael and John's and everybody else's laptop.
Once it gets out.
In theory, right? Once it gets out, and the genie's already out of the bottle, so you can't stop it.
Well, I know. Okay, you know, you're the more of the. You understand, Michael, the technology better than me and Steve, but I don't know. I think it's the idea that it's going to get out of control and it's going to create on its own. I think it's totally exaggerated, but I don't think it's going there. At least not initially. Maybe it gets sophisticated enough that we plug it in a malicious way, so that it creates this uncontrollable system that controls big parts of our physical world. But at some point, it's a physical world. You don't have to. You can put it in every computer and hook it up to manufacturing, but you can close that down. I mean, it's not like it's a movie. I don't know. That's just my layman's view. No,
Michael.
Yeah, that's a fair. I'd say it's a fair point to say that that certainly in the beginning it's not like that. But there's even the godfather of AI, one of the earliest AI researchers from the 60s, said that it's a non-zero chance that AI could get out of control and do that kind of thing, because what we're actually creating is artificial general intelligence, a general intelligence that can set goals on its own, think on its own, and it's called the alignment problem, which is that how do you align the goals of AI with the goals of humanity? That's a distinct risk that even Sam Altman of OpenAI talks about all the time as an area that needs to be thought about.
So here's a question: Is AI a pattern recognition program? Isn't that how it learns?
Yeah, it can be interpreted as that.
Right. It just right. Because it can, it takes data and it's been programmed. The program, the algorithm is learning from that data.
Yeah.
So it's
they're not quite self-learning yet. Actually, interestingly, there's a lot of humans involved in training AI right now.
Right.
Some very poorly paid, it turns out, but they're actually it's human reinforcement learning. So it's humans actually teaching the AI by saying whether it's right or wrong, or identifying things that the AI has worked on. So,
but with that being said, though, you're going to have some 14-year-old kid that can't get laid because he's got pimples on his face and glasses, right? And his mommy and daddy don't love him, and he's in the basement, and he's going to get a hold of AI, and he's going to want to take over the world. And that there's like these little 14-year-olds that are smarter than everybody, and that's what they're going to do. And you're also going to have governments, just say, I don't want to mention anybody in particular, North Korea, China. I don't want to say any countries, though. We need a poo. But they're not looking for like a kumbaya moment. Neither is Russia with Putin. So, they have mad scientists in the background with pocket protectors, lots of pens and crazy hair trying to figure out how do we make this take over the world? I mean, it was just revealed that China is trying to work on whether it's a cyber attack or an AI that can take down satellites, and they can infect it and then start controlling the satellite, right? For their own benefit, telecommunications in case of a war. So I think as much as we say it's human based, which from now maybe it is, that's fine. But whether it's Musk or whoever, somebody's going to realize that once they can control this, the power of it, they're the trillionaire, right? They can take over and do whatever. Who could stop that? Because you could do everything.
Well, that's why OpenAI was founded initially to say, let's democratize AI. Let's get AI out to the public and in the hands. And now people are running AI models on even home computers, souped up home computers. But I'm not running one, but I installed one and started running it on my computer, Lambda, which they took one of Google's models and put it into a desktop format, basically.
Right.
So you can kind of run some of these things on a home computer now.
But so it's getting to the point that John made earlier. It's like you can just unplug it. Well, technically, no. Let's assume that home computer is tied up to the internet. Yeah. So you don't know, and I say this somewhat tongue in cheek. You don't know what your AI is doing, like when you're not there. I mean, because the AI has to learn. They've made it so it's inquisitive, for lack of a better term, and so it reads and goes out and does. So at some point, it becomes smarter. I used to have a friend that used to say, like creates like. And his joke was always, human beings are nothing more than a glorified computer because of the DNA and this and that, right? We're just zeros and ones. So now we're creating zeros and ones in a box. Who's to say 100, 200 years from now, they create something that looks like us? And I'm not kidding when I say the Japanese. I wasn't really saying they're just going to make AI and sex toys, but they've already got the mannequins. Right. They already make for $5 or $10 grand, you can get a girl that's like a robot. That's like, now if you put AI in that, that's like a wife. Then you just have take them out back and shoot them like a horse, I guess. But anyway, it's just one of those things. It's like it doesn't stop. It's like when you say we're going to democratize stuff, that hasn't really worked well for this civilization, democratizing anything, right? We're in America. We're supposed to be a free democracy. That's not working well today. We've only been doing it 250 some odd years, 300 years. It's not done well for society since the beginning of this recorded time.
As a whole.
Yeah. I mean, you can't, there's no place you're going to point to go,
you could say it's been. I mean, more. You could go to the statistics saying more people have come out of poverty in the past 100 years, even though wealth inequality feels pretty rough on a lot of people. There's still more abundance than ever before, and people are still catching up with that idea that even though there are pockets of the world that don't have a lot of things, like the people who don't have water, on the whole, it's still better off than it was 200, 300 years ago.
It depends, I think, who you're talking. If you're talking to someone in the Sudan, probably not so much.
Well, of course.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, and if you're talking to some people that live in some parts of America, probably not so much. So I think I love when, not you per se, but when I read a report and throws out all these statistics, I'm like, where did you go? When you do this report and you look at all this, like the poverty level, when you go to Beverly Hills or Bel Air or Palm Beach, that's not really doing a report on the nation. Right? It's like there were 6 poor people and we're helping them. Right. Why don't you go to a city that has like 1 million poor people or homeless? Then tell me how that's going. Because it's like underemployment. You know, when 2008 happened, they kept saying, oh, we're back. We have never gotten back to those employment rates because people are working 2 to 3 jobs.
2 to 3 jobs.
Kids don't get summer employment. And then the other thing is that after whatever amount of time, a year or two, you fall off the radar. So then they go, oh my God, employment's up. No, it's not. Let's go back to 2006 to real numbers and let's go from there. So here we go. John's the economist.
Poverty level in the last 100 years has dropped dramatically. The thing is your definition of poverty now has changed. But 100 even 50 years ago, 20 years ago, most people now have, lots of people around the world have, a refrigerator. More and more people are getting air conditioning. They used to go walking. Now they have motorcycles, right? I mean, they, for the most part, most people now don't starve to death. 100 years ago, they were all, lots of issues with starvation. So, the definition of what somebody is poor today is very different from what it was, 100 years ago or 50 years ago. Now you're able to, get clothing that is extremely cheap. You have housing, so you have electricity, access to electricity.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but a good part of the world does. So.
And there's already something like 4 billion people on the internet. Half the world is actually connected to the internet.
That's really making me feel any better.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is in China, like their TikTok and all their stuff shows people how you become doctors, lawyers, and attorneys. Our TikTok shows girls wearing no clothes or like dumping water on themselves. And so in China and other countries, when they control the way they do it, it's like, we're going to teach you to be smart and take over the world. We do it to dumb you down. It's truly pathetic. So, guess what? Go ahead, Johnny. Before I run this commercial.
It's the Chinese. They control everything about your life, right?
Yeah. You gotta love. There's something to say about Big Brother and George Orwell.
It's just. But we somehow cater to them.
Janet Yellen yesterday just said you can't decouple China, which is true, because economically that would not just destroy us; it would destroy them and a whole bunch of stuff. And in 2008, they're the ones who have, I think, outside of India, they have, and Russia, they're the ones who have most treasuries. So if they really decided one day to go like, hey, pay us, we're going to be SOL as a country. I mean, not that we have our money's backed by anything anymore, thanks to Richard Nixon. But it's one of those, we got nothing. It's all good faith of whatever. What do I know?
I don't know. I think we should, we should be a lot tougher with China. They're a bunch of thugs, pigs. They destroy cultures. They put.
John, tell us how you really feel. Don't hold back.
Oh yeah, look, the CCP is it's just a disgusting piece of humanity that we should erase from the earth. You talk about Hitler and stuff. These guys are taken it to a whole different level. And we're just like we're just like babies. We're just and as you point out, we focus on all sorts of stuff. Meanwhile, these guys are eating our lunch. Right. So, but
hold that thought. We have to do our thing. Hold that thought.
Get the freedom and the flexibility of remote work in the lucrative tech industry. Bend your life around the world. Bendicoot is the premier course and community for thriving in a remote tech career. Join the revolution today. Bendicoot.com, official partner of the Lost Dollar Business Club.
Well, the cool thing now is I have the title for the show today. It's going to be Conspiracy AI Elon Musk trying to take over the world with China. I like it. So that's the title of the show.
No, that's not far from the truth.
I know. That's why that's the title of the show. I love it. That's going to be the title. So it's going to be awesome. So people,
the last 20 years,
and by the way, John came up with it. So Elon, if you're suing anybody, John's the guy. It's this guy over there.
Look, in the last 20 years, I mean, to talk about theft, intellectual theft they just permeated our entire society, and we just like clueless, right? Half the look, all the universities in the US and the West, are totally co-opted by the Chinese government in some shape or form. They, through funding of research, through their little cultural institutions that they put in, the Confucian institutes
this
they
book,
put in.
Everything you're talking about right here, Spies and Lies by Alex. This book, everything John's saying, I was reading this book the other day, and it's all I like to read, right?
And
so
what cracks me up is, you get corporate CEOs and boards and everybody investing in China because either they're, the way I look at it, I know they're not stupid, they're being corrupted. Right? They've totally been corrupted, because when you put money in China, it's like the Roach Motel. You go in, but you can't come out. Right? And why do we keep putting trillions of dollars into that?
Greed, Johnny, greed, because they've got to make it look good for the shareholders and the stakeholders, and they've got to. It's like it's greed.
Like self-mutilation. It's like self-destroying yourself.
But now.
Are they not? Can they not be aware? I think they're very smart people making these decisions.
Greed, baby, greed.
Yeah, how much money does Tim Cook from Apple need? Really? I mean, come on.
Well, until you get 2 trillion, really, you're poor. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is, John. So, all right, so let's go from that to something that's now American. All right, let's go. Yay, America! Woo-hoo. Yeah. So I sent a video. The Financial Times, who I love the Financial Times, and I don't know why they don't sponsor us. Well, I do know, but anyway, Financial Times sponsor us. Anyway, they sent a video out on 3D manufacturing and printing. That whether it's homes or whether it's whatever artwork or whatever it could be, and all of the stuff that they showed was based in the United States. So like everything's coming back. And to one of the professors at MIT's point in the video said, we in the 80s, everyone's like, oh, send it to Japan, send it to China, send it to India, send it to Vietnam, manufacturing, right? And we lost that. Now we're bringing it back. So these 3D printing manufacturers are now bringing back jobs, and they're also bringing back made in America. So someone like John that's like China should be destroyed, that's a good thing, right? So it's just interesting now where that's going. They showed them printing a 3D house, which I'm not sure if I would live in, but it's in Long Island, Darling. It's very nice.
It'll make it available for a lot of people.
Yes, which I thought was interesting. It cost them $25,000 to make a house that if you had builders build would cost $250,000. I'm sure they're going to sell it for $250,000, right? But it's not selling it for $20,000. But I'm just saying it's interesting to see it. They've built 3 houses. I guess they're waiting for approval. But it was cool because you can do a whole bunch of stuff. Then there was another guy that was manufacturing electronic component parts. Another guy was manufacturing artwork, and then So I think 3D printing is going to be, in time, to your point, John, where you want to get rid of China, so to speak. I think that will help our manufacturers. I think the problem is that once again, it goes to greed. I think people don't understand economical or political situations. All they're worried about is how much money am I going to make? What's my bonus? And will my shareholders let me keep a job for another day? Now, to their point, Apple can't do this in the United States because you're not going to get 300,000 people to make Apple products in America. There's just no way, right?
He said actually that Tim Cook has said that over the past probably decade, we simply don't have the knowledge of how to use these advanced tools. We don't have the tooling that China has to make actually the very high precision products that Apple designs. And he's said that in It's at least one interview that I saw. That's a real problem. But with the 3D printing, and now they're calling it additive processes or additive manufacturing, this could be a gateway to at least bringing more experience back into actually creating, because the whole process is digital. It's going from creating the digital schematic to just printing it out, to converting it through the software to print it out into a physical space. And there are, I think they mentioned 6,000 firms that are 6,000 small businesses that around the United States that are actually doing local 3D printing.
Yeah, no, and the video is about 30 minutes long, but it's totally fascinating.
Yeah.
So and they have the professors from MIT talking about it and whatnot. So I was like, this is cool. Like I would do it.
But it's been around we've had it for like 15 years.
Right, but the costs are coming down. So to your point, that's true. Like the guy said, they have a printer now that 10 years ago cost $8,000. Today it's $800. And then what was 800 or whatever is like now there's like one for 300. But they have this mammoth one that's like the size of a house. That's 350,000 or 250, I forget. But it can print up to a 6 foot, whatever you want to scan, up to 6 feet, right, in length and whatever. So it's interesting. Like he says, as it grows, the costs are coming down, the material is coming down. So hence now you can build a house with it. So it's 20 grand.
Is the expertise and the education though catching up? Because I think part of the challenge is, and this is what China's done, is not just taking intellectual property, but educating their people in ways that we are not necessarily educating our people here. And that's a real risk.
That's because parents want to be friends with their kids and they don't beat out of them if they don't do good in school. I'm not saying that. I'm not advocating. I'm just saying there's a different mentality here.
I think
like the kid. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just, but it's interesting that, if you look.
John.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Did you hear that?
No.
Oh,
the Chinese coming for you.
Yeah, no. I think, well, we have the problem that we don't produce enough engineers, and I guess the focus is on different things, right? Our society is not controlled by somebody that's pushing you in a certain way, and so.
But our society now is teaching kids you don't have to do anything thanks to the Kardashians, right? You just have to be famous on TikTok or Instagram or whatever it is. And they don't add any value. You know what I mean? It's like some TikToker or influencer is getting paid to go buy this and they get $50,000. It's like, that's their job. I mean, I'm sure over time,
most 17-year-olds aspire. They're actually, I saw a study that they're saying that they aspire to be influencers, which is crazy to me.
And I'm like, how can you be an influencer? You don't know shit. At least all of us have business experience. I mean, Michael's got like 20 years. John's got like 700 years. He looks a lot younger than he really is. I've got like a week and a half. But I mean, we've all got business experience, right? We've been in the real world. We've done things. These kids don't do a squat. I was hearing a guy that I listen to if I want to like look at a certain car. It's been in the automotive industry for 30 years. So when I listen to him talk about a car, he talks about the driving experience, the handling experience, how it's made. But when an influencer does it, goes it's pretty. I don't care. And it's like, I want intellectual stimulation. I don't need
but if you're 20 years old, you're not looking at that. You're looking at somebody that looks has
good.
A certain, physical attraction that is popular. He's got 1 million viewers. Well, okay, and so you're drawn towards that person. And hey, look, Susie likes this product. It looks really nice. Okay, and you just want to imitate it. It's this sort of it's an extension of high school that goes into adulthood, and it's just we're all trying to compete with each other to look a certain way and be popular, and have all these
and missing the real competition, which is there are certainly countries and people out there who want America to be totally destroyed.
Yeah. Even people in America apparently want people to be totally destroyed. That January 6th little party that they had, they tried to do that.
Well, okay. I don't. Yeah.
I don't
Let's
know.
not go there.
I didn't mention any names. But
it's
there is.
It's tough. Yeah.
Well, the
Yeah.
good thing is, though, we got 3D printing. So, yay, America, you're finally doing something. I was reading an article once again in the FT. It was talking about tradesmen. Louis Vuitton says they have a hard time finding young people from whether it's high school or university that want to learn how to make a purse or learn how to do whatever, like how to be or a watchmaker or tradesman, right? Um, and I was like, I was interested because they don't make that much. And Louis Vuitton said, well, we pay like you would almost be like an executive. You're making six figures once you get done with the program. And I'm saying to myself, you know, that's if you like working with your hands, that's not a bad thing. I mean, granted, you're not going to take over a company, but if they're paying you real money with real stock,
Yeah,
but we don't have trades programs. I was watching one of our guys, the brown car guy that does Sermon from the German, which is a show we have on our channel. And he's doing a thing in London. It's called Tinker Day with this group. It's on the BBC, and I was watching it, and the guy was saying when he started 40 years ago, you learned everything about a car by the touch, the feel, and the smell, and blah blah blah. And he said, and today they don't teach you that. They teach you how to plug something in,
Oh no.
and a computer tells you. So I think
Yeah.
we have to get back to it's okay to learn a trade. It's okay to
Yeah.
do this and that. I don't think we do that. And I think that's also part of the issue. And I think 3D printing to an extent may help you, but a lot of that, like construction workers, go back to the house that they built. It takes 25, 30 people to build this one house. 3D printing takes 5.
Okay, but what
So
the economy rewards or is rewarding our creators and makers. I mean, that's
Yep.
maybe the ultimate goal is to get people really making things
yeah.
and being creative about what they make so that we can meet our customers where they are, so we can service the economy better. But is that so, John? Your thoughts on makers and creators? Is that happening in China? Are there people out there who are creators and makers, or are they still just taking everything that's
Well, the Communist Party controls everything, right? So yeah, they obviously incentivize that. They just take the rewards, right? They put their people in in all these companies, and if you're out of line, they take you out essentially.
Mhm.
Me and Jack May. I
You
took
know,
him away for 6 months.
so look,
Re-educating.
they obviously they want they want all of that, and they can push it and make the rewards for people to create that to participate, that as long as you can participate as long as you're part of the system. Just don't
Mhm.
question the system, right? It's interesting that all the people that are successful in China, that have big companies or tech companies, they all reap the rewards of wealth and access and privilege. But as soon as they open their big mouths and start saying something critical of
Jack Ma.
yeah,
Jack Ma had that problem.
Jack
yeah,
Ma.
there's a whole bunch of them that have been re-educated. Uh, you know, if you want the wealth and the privilege and the status, just don't open your mouth against the system, right? But what happens is become wealthy, and all of a sudden you start going outside of your controlled world, and you begin to see maybe a little bit of the reality, and then you open your mouth, and then
Yeah.
consequences.
Yeah.
So that's
Maybe
the Chinese model. Um, at least that's
Yeah.
the way from what I wouldn't say exposed, but I've
I
read
mean,
enough.
I was there in 2005, 2006, teaching computer science to
Yeah,
through a program between USC, University of Southern California,
yeah,
and the Lippo group in China. And it was a great program. We were educating very promising students, but the social reality, and the social pressure of not even being able to access some articles in the New York Times because it didn't make it through the Great Firewall was had a very chilling effect on my teaching there and my ability to even just live there comfortably, which is why I only stayed there a year.
yeah,
And now it's even worse, I'm sure.
yeah, yeah. I think
No.
it's I don't know why do we help this system succeed? Because now
Greed, once
they're
again. What part of greed don't
Probably
you
goes
get?
back to Stevens.
It
yeah,
really is if you
okay,
think about it. If you're an American businessman, and I can Apple, we'll use Apple, right? I have 300,000 people that live in a dormitory. Some kill themselves apparently. That jump out. Now they put the nets there and
They
whatever.
put the nets
But
there. Oh, yeah.
right, so they don't kill themselves. Bad publicity. But if I can make an iPhone in China for I don't know, $100 or whatever it really costs, and then ship it over here and sell it to stupid Americans for $1,000, okay. Well, why would I make it in America where it cost me $1,000 to make it? Because we have rights and we have a union, or we have this or we have that, blah 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 blah. It's all about greed and profit at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I
If
understand
people
that.
didn't, but no, but if we didn't care about that, we would have never left manufacturing leave the United States. We would have taken it and implemented
Sure, yeah.
what everybody else did: more robotics, more teaching, more this, more. But it got to the point where, like, yeah, more anything. But we don't even do that. It's just sort of like, screw you. We don't care. Send it to some other country. And I mean, people think we live in this like utopia, but yeah, we don't, because realistically, we had this dialogue on one of the shows, and it was sort of like, if World War II broke out today, I don't think we could do it. I don't think the US has what it had back then. We have all the arsenal, but I don't think you have the people. I don't think you would get like the rally cry from
No,
people anymore, because people are like, well, that doesn't affect me.
yeah, no,
You know what I
we don't
mean?
have it. We're already seeing it. Isn't, you know,
Yeah.
we're seeing it right in front of us. You know, we know that uh, you know, Ukraine has consumed tons of ammunition from all sorts of countries, and we can't resupply quickly. We just don't
Mhm.
have
We don't
the
have.
you don't have a war machine. So even if we put a war machine, you know, I don't know that it would be that easy. The thing is, we've integrated the global manufacturing at a point that where there's parts that are, you know, we don't make, Europe doesn't make. Look, the Russians have the same issue, right? They don't have
Well, yeah.
the microchips that they need in their smart bombs, you know, locally. So they, you know, fortunately for them, you know, the Chinese can probably supply them, uh, and other
They're very
players.
complementary to each other right now.
Yeah,
All
I
right. Well,
mean,
before we keep going down this rabbit hole, because this is a
yeah,
whole show into itself, let's
yeah.
talk about the digital divide
Oh
Yeah,
God,
yeah. A few minutes
narrowing.
on the
yes,
digital divide, but this is a promising. This is a
Yes.
promising thing. Is that for the past? It's been at least 10 years of through multiple presidencies of people recognizing that rural America deserves and needs to be connected to the 21st century through the internet. And even though the rural divide still exists, where a lot of counties across America still have under 65% broadband accessibility, which is not even really super high speed, but at least it's broadband, it's fast enough. Um, there's a lot of focus, and now the Biden administration is putting more money behind that, but more focus on getting broadband into rural America so that they can access healthcare, education, and jobs. Um, and people are acknowledging that even though the rural population is only maybe 14 or 15% of the United States population, it's the people who are in the farmlands, in the countryside, who are stewards of the land and of natural resources. And it's important to connect them to the economic opportunities of the rest of the country, of the more urbanized areas.
yeah. The way I look at it is, uh, it goes back to, you know, our prior. You know, in the U.S., it's the U.S. priorities. Why the hell are we spending $1 trillion on the U.S. armed forces? Which, you know, I would say, you know, I'm taking this out of middle of the air, but I'm sure that the personnel costs are, you know, half of that budget.
Hmm.
You know, let's just, you know, come on. I mean, uh, you know, we're sending bombs to Ukraine, which, you know, are super smart, and they're getting jammed by, you know, the GPS is getting jammed. You know, so we're spending all these money on all these smart, expensive programs. You know, we could take what do you think it would take? 100 billion to do this? You know,
Maybe
we take,
it might not even take that much, 100 billion,
yeah,
to actually get out to more than 85 or 90% penetration of broadband in rural America. It's 100 billion would be a godsend, because
yeah.
then
I
you
mean,
would be able to get
we could
real fiber optics out there. Yeah,
yeah, everybody would have, you know. So
everybody.
it's just amazing, you know. The politicians, you know, talk and they don't deliver, and you know, we have this, I suppose we have this machine that just eats up, you know, tons of dollars. And
Well, it's
God, I mean, you know, I think the military just takes way too much money from all of us, and
Mhm.
in the end, you know, it's
That's what Eisenhower said.
What's an investment?
Military industrial complex, and that's what
He
we've
warned
got.
us.
And
He warned
and
us.
it's like and you've got black projects that take billions that nobody knows about. You've got, I'm sure you got things beyond black projects that nobody really knows about.
Yeah, I
The
mean,
government hides everything from its people
Well,
because it's
they don't
afraid.
audit it. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't pass an audit. That's well known.
Yeah, because it's, national security. The national security has become an excuse to hide everything.
Yeah.
It's amazing, that, as you said, we've been talking about this for 10 years. Internet access, broadband,
God for Al Gore.
it should, and what would it take? I mean, even 50 billion would make a huge difference. Yeah, it's just, I just don't get it. And
because we're a country of talk, not do. Like we say, we want to help people.
There are people,
right? But if you think about it, we're a country of not doers, to an extent. The government says we want to help you, we want to do this, and they write checks for all this other stupid crap. Well, if you really want to help, why don't you write the checks for what you really need to do, get everybody on a playing field, and help everybody go forward? But they don't. It's like, okay, so well, this goes here, this goes here. Oh, broadband, it's okay. Yeah,
it's because it's not enough. I mean, there's
no money.
What I've noticed is there's not the advocacy. There's not the representation for rural America in the more urbanized Washington, D.C., who really doesn't seem to care about what's actually happening in the greatest geographic area, even though it's the lowest population. But most of the country is not very, very densely populated.
No, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully it gets better. All right, boys, it's time for Lost and Found. I know I think that, I don't know if this is the Lost and, does we have a commercial for Lost and Found? Or is he just going to Lost and Found?
Video for Lost and Found. Yeah.
All right, hold on. I think this may be the video. I love when I run the show, right? Oh, let's see. If you like the Lost Dollar Business Club, you should subscribe. If you like it that much, you should also tell a friend of yours. So you should subscribe and like. Also, you should put comments below so we know what you're thinking. Tell us what shows you want to hear. Just help us make it better.
So who's lost $1 this week? And who's found $1 this week?
All right.
David's with us even when he's not with us. So he's gonna watch this and go, you figured out how to push all the buttons. I don't have the sound effects though for the cha-ching and the boom boom, and I'm sure it's somewhere in this dashboard, but I don't want to touch it because I have no idea what I'll hit.
Well, John, let's just say, first of all, it's fantastic having you as a guest on this show. Really, a lot of good contributions there. This section of the show is to talk about something in the business world where a company has done something really well and they've found $1, or they've done something very poorly and made a mistake and lost $1.
Oh boy!
And, sometimes there's something somewhere in between, and we have to make a judgment call. But Stephen, what have you got this week?
There's a whole bunch. I mean, I was looking through everything. I'm going to go with yesterday's explosion of the rocket ship from Musk because I could care. Like, listen, till Elon comes on the show, I could care less. It's not like it's like he's not showing up. So what's he gonna like? Not like me? He doesn't even know who I am.
You never know.
Yeah, but no, I don't. I think I don't. And here's what I think. I don't think it was a bad thing blowing up. I think they learned whatever they needed to learn. So for the immediate second it blew up, terrible. Long term, probably a good thing because hopefully now they can go and do whatever the next generation of rockets need to do. So I'm going to go with that would be a positive. Okay.
And that's a win. Cha-ching.
There you go. Cha-ching, David. I'm sorry we don't have your sound effect.
Yeah. And actually, we're on the same wavelength, Stephen, because I wrote the same thing. I wrote SpaceX heavy successful launch because that was their heaviest rocket ever.
Right.
33 engines, and it's the rocket that it will be the platform to get us to Mars.
Yep,
so
hopefully.
And the fact that it lasted so long before it blew up, it got to the stage where it just wasn't able to get the second stage off is what happened. So it just
to unhook.
But it's amazing that it was able to even sustain it that long.
I was going to say it's amazing it got off the platform. So I was like, okay, well that's a good thing. I'm like, at least you got that. So
yeah.
Let's think if more American kids had engineering degrees, it would have done.
It's good. That'll inspire more, though. We'll say that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Johnny, what about you? What do you think your lost or found is this week?
Jeez.
Jeez. No, that's not a lost or found, John. No.
No, I don't have a good.
Okay. Well, John's going
Yeah.
to be back next week because David's still on holiday next
David's
week.
still on holiday,
So John will
David,
have-
think about it.
John has a whole week to think of a lost and
Yeah,
found, and then, you know.
No gut
Yeah.
instincts, no initial off the top of your head.
No, I don't have
No.
anything
Okay,
that
he
is
needs some time.
shouting at me this week. Jesus. Okay.
No, Jesus,
No.
he's not going to be able to help you, pal.
Uh,
Guys, that's all right, John. Thank you so much. It was great to see everybody. We will be being at I speak English only once a week.
Yeah.
We'll be back next Saturday morning at 6 a.m. Eastern time for all you people that listen to this on the podcast and for you people that watch. People I notice on YouTube watch whenever. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Write your comments below, what you like, what you don't like, what topics you'd like us to cover. Elon, call us. Not really. So anyway, we all know the topic of the show, conspiracy theories. I'm literally the topic today, conspiracy theory, AI taking over the world with Elon Musk and the Chinese. So you can consider that clickbait, I guess, as well. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much. And here, John, you have to stay for the ending because David's very proud of all this stuff. I'm just
Oh,
proud
yeah.
I know how to hit the buttons. So